And we are joined by a special guest today, a guy I once called soft. I didn't call you directly soft, Armando Bacot, but I did call your team soft back in November. And now I'm eating my words. But I thought you guys changed. I thought, listen, to me, it was so much fun to watch you guys. I compare you to the Boston Celtics a little bit this year, to be honest. And I live in Boston, of a team that started off slow, couldn't kind of figure it out. And then after some time, you guys just clicked and put it together at the right time. But again, listen, congrats on a hell of a season. It was so much fun to watch you and your teammates. Again, especially when you see a team that is struggling early and react to a moron like me calling you soft and proving me wrong. Listen, and how you handled it at the final four, I thought was really impressive because you didn't go at me, but you had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw that video, that was like just one of the motivating factors. I'm like, I'm gonna at the Final Four one day.
You did.
Armando, did you want to punch this guy when you saw the video? I mean, you lose to Purdue, top 15 team. You lose to Tennessee, top 15 team. I know you guys didn't play well, but when you see this idiot on screen and Coach Davis is playing it, what did you want? What did you want to say to this guy?
I mean, it kind of pissed all of us off. Just it was right before we played App State. I'd never forget it. Coach, he just turned on the TV and he just played that clip, and that's literally all we said before the game. It was no scouting report. And it just, I ain't gonna lie, it fired us up for sure.
Well, there's nothing worse, am I wrong, than being called soft, right? Like,
yeah. You could have said we weren't good. You could have said we didn't have talent, but just like that's what really, kind of took it over the top.
It's funny because your teammates denied, I think, that you were, I don't know if it was that you were soft. I forget how I asked them, but a couple of your teammates kind of denied it. And they were like, no, I think I asked them, I said, you guys weren't fun to watch.
Yeah.
And they said, we don't think that was the case. And I'm like, yeah, but, and I asked you that, and I think you understood what I was getting at, that you really weren't playing well together at that point. And I felt like you weren't competing from a toughness standpoint also at a level certainly that you did later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the huge part for us was just playing together, specifically on the defensive end. Like, it wasn't really a help-to-helper type thing. It was just like, I don't want my man to score. That was like a huge problem with us in the beginning of the season. And then once we really started trusting each other on both ends, that's when we really saw like just our play take off.
Armando, when did you know that this Carolina team could be elite, as in get to the Final Four? What was it, the Duke win on the road? And honestly, what changed?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I think really just all season we kind of were delusional because at no point, like, we didn't think we weren't a good enough team to go to the Final Four. And I mean, we got back like 6 or 7 times, but throughout it, like, we would have team, like, just player conversations in our group chat, like, we're going to turn it around. Like, we really knew and thought we could get to the Final Four. And I think just our belief, even through those tough times, just really helped us.
Well, you speak of tough times. You guys lose to Pitt at home. And Pittsburgh, we've talked about their struggles. Even after that, people were saying, we're good. We can go to the Final Four.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, but at that point, we were like just hoping we still could get into the tournament. And we knew, like, if we get into the tournament, just the way we played, it kind of, we knew it would throw teams off. And I think just that Duke game, specifically in the end of the regular season, that's when, like, our identity as a team really, like, showed just on a national level, especially with just that ball screen in the middle third. Just off of that, we just really started to, really find our identity.
March 5th, like, I'm there, and I remember I had to go a couple days early because Kay did his press conference on Thursday. So I fly in, and it's all about Kay. Like, nobody even cares about you guys going into that game, right? I mean, you're hearing it. It's all about him. You guys come out there and don't just win. I think you win that one convincingly, to me. You guys controlled the game. You dominated the game for the most part. And then even after the game, I didn't even see you after the game, Mondo, because I had to go deal with the Coach K deal, right? It was still all about K. Tell me what that whole deal was like going into it, coming out of it. where you partied, what you did after that game? Because I know you had to party after that game.
I mean, they beat us at home in the first game, so going into this next game, we were already pissed, and then like we knew they just didn't think we were a good team. Like nobody respected us, and it was like it's one of those situations where we were like kind of a wounded animal, and it's just like at the point we were just fighting with our backs against the wall. So going into that game, I mean, we all came in there. Coachy showed us like a clip of the Lakers when they kept losing to the Celtics and how they just eventually beat them, and that really just inspired us. And I mean, we was going in there looking for a fight. It wasn't no waiting for them to throw the first punch. We wanted to do that, and I mean, I think that's really what we did for real.
All right, so then give me the post game. What was it like after you beat him back in Chapel Hill? Tell me your night. Give me the unfiltered night of what that was like.
At 12 o'clock, it actually was my birthday. So
really,
oh, what a day!
Yeah,
you could imagine. So we got back on the bus and we drove to Franklin Street, and this was all our first times ever, like really experiencing it just because of COVID. And then my freshman year, they beat us twice. So I mean, it was just crazy. And just after that, you could just see the life, like even till now, just the life on our campus has been crazy. I feel like we kind of re-energized just Chapel Hill as a whole.
And it's so good there. I mean, Franklin Street, for people that haven't been there, it is electric.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the team, like everywhere we go now, it's like everybody loves us.
Where hey, like back in December, when you guys would go out, what was it? I mean, were there times when you were hanging your head and would have the hood over your head and after some of those losses?
Definitely, for sure. Just because we knew we were so much better than the product we was putting out too. And like you said, it just was like a lack of effort thing, I think, for us. Like just not going out there putting out the best product every game. And you would think like you get like 30 games. So to be able to go out there and compete every game. But I mean, it was just a lot of hiccups and things we just had to get over.
I know getting to the Final Four is insane in itself with the whole experience that comes with it. But Armando, what's it like to play your biggest rival and probably not probably it is the biggest rivalry in college basketball. Jeff and I were at the game, and even though Kansas and Villanova had just played, 30 minutes before, it felt like it was 50-50 Duke UNC right down the middle. So what is that experience like of getting to play the biggest rivalry on the biggest stage in the sport?
I mean, it was a nerve-wracking just build-up. We just ready to play like immediately just because I knew how high stakes of a game it would be just because growing up being a college basketball fan and just knowing so much about the rivalry, it was like a game we had to win. So, I mean, we all just was ready to play, and it was still just no talk about us. Everybody was saying how Duke was the best team in the tournament. And I felt like we played the best basketball. I mean, all year, our problem had been depth. And, I mean, we was beating Baylor by 30 before Brady got thrown out and Caleb got pushed out the game too. And I feel like a lot of people forgot that just because we blew the lead. But, I mean, depth, like, it was like a 5-6-man team. So that was just more fuel to our fire going into that game because people were saying how they were the best team in the tournament. Nobody was picking us to win the game, and we just wanted to spoil their party.
I've got to ask you, did you ever ask Brady what it was like to sit in the locker room and watch the lead disappear? He had to be like losing his mind, right?
Oh, yeah. Brady, he's a high-head. He was for sure going crazy. Even after the game, we went in there, he was upset just because he didn't have a chance to be out there. And, I mean, he had 27 points with 12 minutes still left. So, I was hurt for him because I knew he could have had a really crazy game, legendary game. And the foul out, his 27 points helped us. But he was upset for sure.
I felt like, Mondo, that overtime kind of also gave you that, right? I mean, you blow that lead. Everybody thinks you're going to lose because you're playing a team, Baylor, that everybody kind of has said a program of culture, right? Toughness, mental toughness. Not the same guys, but a lot of the same guys who won a title a year ago. And I think a lot of people thought you guys would wilt in overtime. And instead, you come away with a win. How important was that for the rest of the run?
Yeah, we saw a lot of guys that don't usually play, like Puff Johnson and Justin McCoy in those situations. They stepped up. So, I think that kind of gave them the confidence, too, to know, hey, we can play in those moments. And then Dontrez, too. just for us to just pull that out. And I mean, the way those guards were playing at Baylor, we found a way. And I mean, I think that gave us that extra confidence. Like, if we can beat the number 1 seed and win the national championship, we can beat anybody.
Armando, how do you view this season? I mean, getting to the Final Four is just an incredible achievement for any team. You beat Duke twice, but you end up losing the national title game. How do you view this year?
I mean, I would view it as success just because where we started and then to where we got to. And I think just it was huge for our team, just kind of building the identity of, what Coach Davis, Coach teams would be like. I feel like we did a good job of just showing that. And I mean, I think just this team for him for the rest of his career is something he can look back on and use us as an example, like for any team, because we started off not really looked at as a tournament team, having so much issues as far as everything all across the board. And it's something he can look back on and say, hey, like, you can change, you can be like that. So